Welcome, everyone, to the, I have to figure out what day it is, Tuesday, March 21st, 2023 City Council meeting. So we will now go ahead and do roll call. Melody, do you want to do roll call?
Sure. Councilmember Leetta Dalhoff.
Present.
Councilmember Angela Jefferson.
Present.
Councilmember Joan Cathy.
Present.
Councilmember Eileen Swarthout.
Present.
Councilmember Michael Althauser.
Present.
Councilmember Peter Agabe.
Present.
Councilmember Charlie Schneider.
Present.
Mayor Debbie Sullivan.
And I'm present. Thank you. We will now do the Pledge to Allegiance. If you could join me in our salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we have a couple of special items, and before we get started, I wanted to mention that we do have, in addition to our special items this evening, County Auditor Mary Hall will be joining us with an update on the results of our island annexation. So we will do that after the first two that are published. So our first is proclamation of Red Cross Month, and Councilmember Althauser will go ahead and read that proclamation.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Whoops.
Thank you. Whereas during American Red Cross Month in March, we celebrate the humanitarian spirit of Tumwater and reaffirm our commitment to help ensure no one faces a crisis alone. And whereas caring for one another is at the heart of our community and exemplified by the people of Tumwater, whose simple acts of kindness through the Red Cross provide help and hope in people's most difficult moments, continuing the life-saving legacy of Clara Barton, who founded the organization more than 140 years ago to prevent and alleviate human suffering. And whereas every day, these ordinary individuals lend a helping hand to make an extraordinary difference for neighbors in need, whether it's providing emergency shelter, food, or comfort for families displaced by home fires and other disasters, donating life-saving blood for cancer patients, accident victims, and people with sickle cell disease and other life-threatening conditions, supporting military members and veterans along with their families and caregivers through the unique challenges of service, using vital skills like first aid and CPR to help others survive medical emergencies, or delivering international humanitarian aid and reconnecting loved ones separated by crises around the world. And whereas their support, volunteerism, and generous donations are critical to our community's resilience, we hereby recognize this month of March in honor of all those who fulfill Clara Barton's noble words: "You must never think of anything except the need and how to meet it." And we ask everyone to join in this commitment. Now, therefore, Debbie Sullivan, Mayor of Tumwater, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2023 Red Cross Month, and encourages all community members to join us and commend the efforts of South Puget Sound and Olympics chapter of the American Red Cross, and encourage our residents to reach out and support its humanitarian mission.
Thank you. And I believe Larry Blouch is here to accept this proclamation, and I will come down there. So here's the proclamation. So go ahead, take a couple of minutes. Oh, appreciation. So
Mayor.
thank you.
Appreciate
You
it.
bet.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. My name is Larry Bleich, and I am elected official liaison and a community volunteer leader with the American Red Cross. And thank you, council member, for reading that proclamation. Clara Barton would be very proud of you. I'm sure I don't have to introduce the Red Cross to anybody here. Our name is probably one of the most recognized names in the nation. In fact, universally, it's one of the most recognizable brands. You probably turn on the television every night for that matter, and you see a disaster of some sort happening across the nation. And Red Cross is one of the very first organizations on hand to provide humanitarian care, such as food, shelter, and mental health care. But what you probably don't recognize or realize rather is that most of our work is done right here in community. Throughout Washington State, we respond to anywhere from 3 to 6 emergencies every single night in Washington State, doing the same type of humanitarian care. Most of these are home fires or flooding, but we provide the same care across the nation. Other thing you may not recognize about the Red Cross, every 8 minutes, we respond to some sort of a disaster, every 8 minutes. And every 2 seconds, there's a need for life-saving blood. And that's very important that we stock our blood supplies because the Red Cross supplies 40% of all the nation's blood supply. So we need 38,000 blood donations every single day to meet that need. You also may not realize that of all the volunteers you see when you turn on your TV and you see our red vests, 90% of us are volunteers. I'm a volunteer, and I just came back from the hurricane in Florida, where I spent the last 2 weeks. And the last thing you may not realize about the Red Cross is that for every dollar that's donated, 90 cents goes right back towards all that humanitarian care. So there's no overhead to speak of. So next time you play Trivial Pursuit, and I know you all play it, they ask one of those questions, you know who to thank, okay? Last thing I'll leave you with is I'm often asked, how can people help the Red Cross? And I say there's 3 ways. 1, donate. We're not supported by the government in terms of funding. It's all privately donated. 2, donate blood. Go to our website. I've been doing this for 25 years, and it's one of the most rewarding things you could possibly do to give a life. And 3, consider volunteering. We always need people with different skill sets. We always need wonderful board members. So hint, hint. All right. Thank you so much again, Mayor. Thank you, everybody, and appreciate this proclamation.
Great,
Be
thank
happy to
you.
answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions? No, thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
All right, next special item is South Puget Sound Habitat for Humanity update by Carly. Carly, I'm going to mess up your last name.
Colgan.
Oh, it was too easy. Okay. With South Puget Sound Habitat for Humanity, and you're the executive director.
Thank
So,
you.
Yes.
Good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Carly Colgan. I'm the CEO at South Puget Sound Habitat for Humanity. Our vision is a world where everyone has a decent place to live, and our mission is bringing people together to build homes, communities, and hope. Since 1989, our organization has been building and repairing homes in Thurston County. We believe that no matter who we are or where we come from, everyone deserves a safe place to call home. And we know that a stable home provides strength, stability, and self-reliance. Our project, located on the corner of 73rd and Henderson, is called the Talichan Townhomes. The neighborhood sponsor for this project is the Cowlitz Indian Tribe. And Talichan means to help in the Lower Cowlitz Coast Salish language. When completed, Talichan will feature 28 townhomes. The staggered duplex townhouse design was developed to meet the Evergreen Sustainable Development Standard. This building performance standard contains criteria that safeguards home and safety, increases durability, promotes sustainable living, preserves the environment, and increases energy and water efficiency. Our homes will feature a heat pump hot water heater, water sense fixtures, Energy Star rated appliances, and a heat pump ducted system to allow for heating and cooling in every room. Each home will also be EV ready. With a floor plan that accommodates 3 bedrooms or a 4th accessible bedroom on the ground floor, 2 bathrooms, a roomy kitchen, and an island that serves as a large great room, these homes will provide a safe, efficient, and affordable opportunity for an estimated 100 new Tumwater residents. Infrastructure work has been taking place on this project since late fall. The land has been graded and cleared of debris. Water and sewer installation is complete, as is the stormwater piping. Power is at the property, and we are currently waiting for PSE to underground the lines. We expect to be finished with the infrastructure work in the next few weeks. Our build cycle will be broken up into 2 phases of construction, with 14 homes being built in each phase. We're hoping to see a quick turnaround from final plat approval so that we can begin vertical construction of the first 14 homes as soon as possible. Earlier this fall, our homeowner selection committee identified our first 14 partner families. Selection for Habitat homeownership is based on 3 criteria. The first is to have demonstrated need for affordable housing. This includes an applicant being cost burdened, living in substandard, unsafe, or overcrowded housing, or currently living in temporary or subsidized housing. It's fair to say that in our current market and conditions, a significant portion of our community has a need for affordable housing. Future Habitat homeowners are active participants in the home building and home buying process. The foundation of our unique program is working in partnership with families. The main way this is accomplished is through sweat equity. Each homeowner volunteers 300 hours with our organization. It's an opportunity for families to help build their home alongside volunteers and play an active part in making their dream of owning a home a reality. Habitat homeowners own their home. They pay a monthly mortgage, they pay property taxes and homeowners insurance. They repair and maintain their home on their own, and therefore they have to demonstrate an ability to pay. Our program is a pathway to an affordable mortgage, but what most people don't know is that our homeowners walk into a bank and get a loan just like everyone else. The 14 households that make up phase 1 of Tillichin include 43 people. 13 of the households are single income households, including 2 retired seniors and 9 single parents. 50% of the households are from communities of color, and the area median income of the families range from 33% to 59%, with an average AMI of 47%. These future homebuyers are currently cost burdened, living in unsafe and unhealthy environments. Many live in overcrowded situations, and the opportunity to own their home will provide them with the stability and safety to raise their families without the stress of wondering when the rent will increase again. I'd love to invite each of you, as well as the general public, to join us this Saturday, March 25th at 9 a.m. on the site, where we will officially break ground on the project and kick off this newest build. Thank you so much for continuing to support Habitat for Humanity and prioritizing affordable housing in our community. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Councilmember Schneider.
Thank you. Thank you, Carly. It's always good to see you. So you mentioned home ownership. So once these individuals or families purchase the home and down the road they decide to move out, what's the process with that? Do you take that over and resell that, or how does that play out?
With every home that we build, we have the first right of refusal. So we always, as an organization, have the opportunity to purchase back any home that is being sold. We oftentimes exercise that right of first refusal, but if we choose not to as an organization, each home is also has a affordability covenant connected to it. And so it has to be resold to somebody less than 80% AMI, whether it's being sold back to Habitat and us putting another family into it, or it happening in the market naturally. It still has to be affordable.
Okay, thank you for that.
Councilmember Doha.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Schneider reminded me of a question. Hi, Carly. So with the applicants you have, I know that you get more applicants than you can meet the need. What happens with the the rest of it? Is there a waiting list? Is there a process of any future development or linking them to other resources? What happens to those others?
All of the above. There's not an official wait list because it is technically a mortgage application that they're providing to us. So we have to either approve or deny them, but denial comes with also, here are the things, the reasons why, like, pay down this credit that you have, like pay down here, do this. These are the things that were, that we didn't identify as, reasons for you to move forward. So those things all happen. We have a wait list right now of over 600 people in Thurston County that are interested in home ownership. As an organization, our 5 to 6 year plan has 173 homes in the pipeline. But we, on average, see, 10 applicants per one home.
I think a lot of people don't realize that the financial skills and the training that you also, that element, I think a lot of people don't realize that, and a lot of nonprofits don't do that, right? You just get yay or nay, housing, no housing. But I don't think a lot of people realize the additional work that you do. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Councilmember Swarthout.
Yeah, thank you. I was very honored to serve on the committee, the selection. It was very rigorous, and it was nice that we did it in a group because we all had different thoughts and to be able to come to a consensus. But it was a very well-run process, and I was really honored to be part of it, and would love to do it again. And so my other question is now the boards that we decorated, what do they call those?
The studs.
The studs, yes.
Yes.
Are you going to be using those now
Yes.
on this? Okay, good.
We will be using them. Yeah.
Cool.
And we
I'd
will
like to
send
see
an
that.
invitation to,
Yeah,
you can come and build the wall that the stud it goes
Oh,
into.
that would be
you,
cool.
you may not want me to build, but but
Like financial
Yeah.
education, we can teach you to build as well.
I can weed, so I can dig in the dirt. So, thank you.
Great. Any other comments? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just a small token of appreciation. I wasn't going to leave you out. So thank you very much, and I will be there on Saturday. So thank you. All right, apparently I'm getting my steps in this evening. Yes. So next item is County Auditor Mary Hall. I believe she's on line. Mary? Welcome.
Well, good evening. Mayor Sullivan, members of the council, thank you. It's really great to be here. I'm sorry I'm not in person, but the sun was shining and I just had to come home, and I'm sorry for that. But I wanted to come and thank you for annexing all of those islands in Tumwater. And I can't begin to tell you what a difference it makes to elections administration. You had all of these little islands in the city, and I know that I spoke with John Doan and former Mayor Komet many, many years ago about annexing these, because for every little precinct, we had to create ballots, whether there were voters there or not. And when there were voters, even if there were 2 or 3, if they voted, we would have to suppress the precinct results to ensure that how they voted wasn't public. There was also a lot of confusion between neighbors. You would have one neighbor on one side of the street who was voting on an issue and would get a voter's pamphlet with that, and the other voter that wouldn't have it on their ballot. So we got a lot of phone calls from people saying, why don't I have this on my ballot? So I just wanted to come and thank you. We're very grateful for that. I know it's not an easy process because homeowners get very entrenched in, I want to live in the county or I want to live in the city. So I really want to just thank you for your efforts. And John, my word, congratulations on your retirement. You have just been a tremendous asset to this community, and I'm sure you'll continue to be. So I just wanted to come and say congratulations and thank you for that. And if you're okay, I would love to share my screen or do a little PowerPoint to show you the difference of the maps before the annexations and after. Is that possible?
Yes, Melody, is that possible?
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
Okay, perfect. All right. Can you see this?
Yes, we can.
So if you notice these little tiny precincts, we had to build ballots for every precinct because you never know. It could have been a houseless person who pitched a tent there. We would have to have ballots available. or there might be one or two houses. So this is what it looked like before. And this is, there we go. And this is after. So I am just so grateful. And I had the same issue in a former county that I ran elections in, but it's a huge feat, and my staff is eternally grateful. And I just wanted to come and thank you for that. And I'm really sorry I'm not in person, because isn't it nice following COVID to actually see people in the flesh? But anyway, maybe on
I'll
the
have
next
to get,
meeting.
sorry, I'll have to get you a pencil. All right. Any questions? Councilmember Snyder.
Yeah, hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Fine, thank you. So I was excited to see you're going to be on Zoom. I'm a little disappointed though, because you weren't in your backyard showing off your beautiful gardens.
You know, I just have little flowers coming up right now, but it's, I was out there taking inventory. Oh, that's making it. That's making it. So it's coming back. I look forward to that in a month or more.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions? Well, great. This was something that we're all very happy that those county islands were annexed into the city. It has created conversations and issues, including yours, and additional issues for us also. So I'm glad that that is now resolved.
Yeah,
So
I can
appreciate you
only
coming.
imagine.
Yeah, appreciate you coming this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Next item is public comment. Do we have anyone online? for
We have
public?
one person online, but they already sent in written comments, so nothing online.
Okay, do we have anyone signed in for public comment? Nope. Okay, so we have no public comment this evening. Next item is the consent calendar.
Move to approve the consent calendar. This is Leetta.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved by Councilmember Dahlhoff and seconded by Councilmember Schneider. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. So the consent calendar includes approval of the city council minutes from February 28th, council or its work session from February 28th, the council meeting from March 7th, payment vouchers, service provider agreement with PBS for the Percival Creek Fish Passage Burial Removal Project Amendment, capital agreement with Washington State Department of Commerce for the South Puget Sound Habitat for Humanity. And this is one of the items that we had presented this evening. This is just wrapping that up. And also a second one, assignment of agreement with South Puget Sound Habitat for Humanity. And this is connecting the infrastructure program. The other one was, both of these are construction of infrastructure programs. Contract award for phase 3 grant of the Wildlife Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife for the Bush Habitat HCP and the HCP update. Consultant agreement for Terra right-of-way services limited, right-of-way services for X Street Roundabout project, tree board appointment for Hannah Oman, who is present tonight, and also Broderick Covell, and he is not here this evening, but I will have you come and introduce yourself in a moment, and Heritage Tree nominations. So this was great work done by this.
And great tongue twisters for you.
Yes, it was. I think I've been reading too much today. So anyway, if you want to come to the podium and introduce yourself and explain why you were interested in joining the tree board.
No pressure.
Hi, everybody. My name is Hannah Oman. It's great to be on the tree board. I didn't really prepare anything. I mostly wanted to join because I'm sort of new here. And I think it'd be a great way to learn more about the area, learn more about the history and meet more people. And I went to school for forestry, so it's trees and any way I can help, I'd be happy to help.
That's awesome.
So.
1 second and I'll bring you
Oh.
a remnant of a tree.
Don't cry for it.
I graduated from Warren Wilson. It's out in North Carolina, up in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's a work school.
That's awesome.
Pencil?
Hold on to that tree.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so we do not have any committee, or we do not have any other items on the agenda, so we'll go to committee reports. First committee report we have is Councilmember Dolhoff, the Public Health and Safety.
Thank you, Mayor. Just telling Karen Hall I'll see her on Saturday. Now it's for the record. I did want to say before I do public health and safety that Hannah, I know you didn't expect to say anything. We appreciate you doing that. And if you ever have any questions from council, we are very approachable when we're not on this dais. So our information is public, so please don't ever hesitate to reach out. We love answering questions and would love to do coffee dates if that's of interest. Sweet Magnolia is my favorite coffee joint. So if you ever want to go there. There you go. Okay, Public Health and Safety Committee. We met on March 14th, 8 a.m., which is the perfect meeting time. We had another update, our quarterly update from Tumwater Hopes, where we met new peeps, Georgia Ost, Keitha Bryson, who's not new, but she was new to our meeting, and Bo Wilson, who I really dig those three. And then we have Angela, Councilmember Jefferson, who's on Public Health and Safety, who's also on Tumwater Hopes, along with Councilmember Schneider, where we had an amazing opportunity to assign him work on a different committee that he wasn't there. So thank you, Councilmember Schneider, for your efforts. So we heard about Tumwater Hopes, kind of the revamping, and then looking for representation and increasing their membership. And I jest about Councilmember Schneider in finding, getting an assignment is regarding his involvement with Tumwater Chamber and looking for any businesses in Tumwater that also have a passion for youth. Could there be a crossover? So Charlie's going to work with the chamber and maybe have Tumwater Hopes present at a chamber meeting. So thank you, Councilmember Schneider, for that. And then it was kind of like, magical feels like a little too fluffy word, but I felt it was pretty cool regarding South Sound Behavioral Hospital with TJ O'Reilly, who runs the hospital, lives in Tumwater and has 3 children in the Tumwater School District. And so I kind of joked like, oh, you need healthcare and you need a parent, TJ should join. Well, then he said yes. So I feel like that's a twofer. And I think that's thanks to Public Health and Safety and the meetings that we have at 8 o'clock in the morning. And so it was a really productive meeting. I think that's why I love these committee meetings is they're working meetings and we're making connections and we're actually seeing the benefits of that. So that's what we did last week.
Great, thank you. Next one is General Government Committee and Councilmember Althauser.
Thank you, Mayor. The General Government Committee met on March 8th, and 3 of the agenda items that we discussed, the 2 related to Habitat for Humanity of Puget Sound, as well as the HCP and for Bush Prairie and WDFW, those items were on our consent calendar as a result of that work. Our next meeting is on April 12th, and the agenda for that is still TBD, so stay tuned.
Great, thank you. Next committee is Public Works Committee and Councilmember Swarthout.
Thank you, Mayor. The last time Public Works met was on March 9th, and one of the items on our agenda was talked about at that committee meeting. And unfortunately, we don't have a quorum for the March 23rd meeting, so that one will be canceled, but we'll be looking forward to getting together again in April.
Great, thank you. There was no Budget and Finance Committee since our last meeting, so next we will go to the mayor, city administrator report. Administrator Doan, do you have anything? Nothing. Okay. So one of my reports is I attended the Intercity Transit Authority Board meeting. And some of the highlights that we had was we got to meet the new operator class of the new transit drivers. And so they're going through the process now to get their CDLs and out trained and out into the road. Duncan Green briefed us on briefed the authority on the results of the 2023 Winter Bicycle Challenge and the progress on the 36th annual Bicycle Commuter Challenge, which is in May. And I will see about getting Duncan Green to present maybe at one of our May council meetings. The authority, we bid farewell to Anne Freeman Manzanares, who is the director of Intercity Transit. She's been director and CEO for the last 10 years. She's been with Intercity Transit for 30 years. So March 31st is her last day for retirement. So it just seems like all of these boards and commissions and people are retiring, like city administrators. So there's just a lot of retirements going on. One of the other items that was brought up was that there was a service change actually this last Sunday, March 19th. So they have added 11,000 more hours to the bus routes, which is an increase of about 5.5%. And so they're approximately 78% of pre-COVID levels now, which is great. I think as people are getting back to work and spending more time in the office, I think that's increasing ridership. They're also seeing positive results from the zero fare because it speeds up the routes. And they also had Transit Driver Appreciation Day on March 13th. So there's going to be and I don't know if it's happened yet, but there was going to be a press release regarding a $1.8 million federal grant that Intercity Transit received for the Zero Bus Fare Access Improvement Project. So with zero fare, the buses load on the back and not on the front, which makes it a lot easier to do. And this will include 145 frequently used bus stops that will be upgraded, and that will help with efficiency and increase transit safety. And then they also, Intercity received a re-designation letter from the federal government designating Intercity Transit as a large urban transit system, which should be in existence on by fiscal year 2024. So we are growing and we have a large area. So that's my report. And Intercity Transit, I believe, was the only meeting that I actually went to since our last meeting. So with that, I will go to council member reports. And John, do you mind going first? Councilmember Kathy?
I answer to either name. Answer to Kathy and John. My brother didn't like it, but it was okay for me. I have had a couple of meetings. One is my attendance record is still quite good for 8 a.m. General government meeting, since Councilman Dahl thinks that's a perfect time. And so I attended the general government meeting, and also I had an ORCA meeting, Olympia Regional Clean Air Authority. And we did our executive director performance evaluation, and it was very good. It was very thorough and very different than some of the executive director evaluations I've been a part of in the past and ORCID. And this area is very lucky to have Jeff Johnson as the ORCID director. And then we spent time going over, adding to, taking away, doing things to our 2023 work plan. So that's my report. I didn't have a whole lot of outside meetings.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Councilmember Schneider.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. So the only meeting I attended this past 2 weeks was the Public Works Committee meeting. However, on March 10th, I did participate in the Women's Club of Olympia 140th anniversary celebration held at the Abigail Stewart House. The program was led by Sue Tyler, president of the Women's Club, followed by guest speakers and closing with entertainment provided by the Olympia High School Choir. On March 15th, my day began early, beginning with a breakfast fundraiser for Rebuilding Together Thurston County alongside Councilmember Dahlhoff, followed by Coffee with the Mayor, monthly morning event held at Old Town Center. The meeting continues to grow monthly and helps everyone see how the city is run. But the last event for the day was my attendance at the Tumwater Area Chamber of Commerce Forum held at South Puget Sound Community College here in Tumwater, and this was all before 1 o'clock. On March 16th, I attended the South Puget Sound Community College Food and Beverage Arts Department on Mottman Road held their first annual event entitled Percival Afternoon Teas and Treats, featuring foods prepared by both culinary and bakery students. I had the privilege to sit next to President Timothy Stokes and Barbara Clarkson, wife of former Lacey Mayor Virgil Clarkson, excuse me. And for the next 1.5 hours, Ms. Clarkson shared her and the late mayor's struggles and achievements growing up during segregation and being one of the first persons of color to live in Thurston County. She expressed the love she has for our country and the hope for a better life for everyone, regardless who you are. What a blessing to hear such an amazing woman and her family's story. Finally, on March 18th, I attended the Tumwater Athletic Booster Club, which held their annual fundraising event and successfully raised $48,000. And that is my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Jefferson.
Yes, I, on the other hand, attended many, many meetings. The first was the EMS committee meeting. Can you hear me well? On 15 March for an update to our Medic One Fund and future revenue committee update I discussed 2 weeks ago. Well, all parties were scheduled to meet the following day on the 16th of March, so no update there. I will let you know more after our April meeting. I also have been discussing the 2 part-time EMTs that we have stationed at the hospital ER entrance, waiting for ambulances to help unload to alleviate the backlog at the hospital. Well, they were stabilizing patients because we're so overcrowded at the hospital. Things are going well, and Medic One is no longer doing this. It has transitioned to Olympic ambulance, which was always the plan. So during the last 7-week time frame, this decision saved 130 response time hours with an average turnaround time of 8 minutes per unit. On the 8th of March, I attended our Tumwater Hopes Coalition meeting, and we talked about the results of 2 recent community surveys. 190 people participated and basically asked about youth substance abuse, specifically if parents think drugs and vaping use is a problem. Well, 43% of parents felt regular use was high risk of marijuana was high risk. The state average is 32%. 20% of parents didn't think marijuana use posed a significant health risk. The majority stated that it is not okay for youth to use drugs and alcohol. There is lower awareness on marijuana use, and this is what our schools are seeing with vape use also. Access to drug and alcohol is introduced to youths via an older sibling, older close friend, or parent. As far as mental health, 43% of our youth feel hopeless versus 32% stateside. We then discussed how can we better reach parents? There are several training opportunities coming up, and we plan to spend some of our budgeted money, around $19,000, to send staff and youth to several events, and also invite a harm reduction prevention professional to speak to the community. We discussed that we don't want to guilt, we don't want to shame or call parents out. We want to call them in to join in the conversation on harm reduction and prevention of youth substance use. My third meeting was on the 16th of March, Law and Justice Committee. We talked about the strategic plan and the new vision statements. We brought it in front to be approved. It was not voted on, gave us some recommendations. So we're going back to the drawing board and to really work on that mission and vision statement. We're about to start discussing data trends in law and justice. So we needed as a whole to understand the definition of disproportionality and disparity. We close with discussing some legislative bills. Two to highlight is House Bill 1134, Health and Long-Term Care, creating crisis workforce, crisis hotlines, and liability protections. Also, House Bill 5566, which is called the Blake Fix. It increases possession to gross misdemeanor and sentencing offenders to more drug court. This afternoon was my last meeting and I attended Olympia and Beyond. We discussed our annual board retreat, which is scheduled for 1 June at the Children's Hands-On Museum in Olympia. And we also talked about updating our bylaws and how to obtain a good balance of government and private businesses on the board. Right now, we have a lot of government. So we're gonna talk about that further. And that is all I have, Mayor.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Agabi.
So on March 3rd, I attended a Thurston Regional Planning Council meeting. And at the meeting, we discussed, I'm going to read. Brittany Coley and Kyle Funk of the National League of Cities presented opportunity on strategic for potential funding for the bipartisan infrastructure law that was signed by President Biden on November 15, 2021. And then Regional Planning Council 2022 amendment cycle, Transportation Manager Katrina Van Avery updated the council on 6 proposed amendment to the Regional Transportation Plan RTP. The proposed amendment include the following: removal of low carbon road connectivity connection, City of Olympia, add Southeast Olympia Street Connectivity Study, City of Olympia, add Northeast Lacey Operation Terminal Facility, Intercity Transit, add alternative fuel infrastructure project, Intercity Transit, update to a 5-year plan cycle, TRPC staff, and add transit safety performance measure, TRPC staff. So for all this amendment and 6 in total that I mentioned, on April 7 at our meeting, we are going to vote to adopt this amendment on that day. But for the removal of the low carbon road in Olympia, we are going to hold off on that because there is an alternative plan, or unless there's an alternative plan or a study that demonstrates that the project is not needed or a viable alternative warrant the removal of that area, of that street. So we will discuss all of that on April 7th. So for climate mitigation update, Senior Planner Olsen Osterberg provided an update on the implementation of the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan. The plan looks at where our region can reduce local contribution to climate change through greenhouse emissions. TRPC partnered with Tustin County and the cities of Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater to develop the plan. There was supposed to be a report, an outside committee report from Council Member Whitley, but she was not present. A written report was provided instead. And tomorrow I have EDC meeting in Rochester, and that is my report.
Great, thank you, Councilmember Gabi. Councilmember Dollhoff.
I had 8 meetings and I'm going to go through each one of them. Joking. So some highlights, which I hope you would all find interesting, is Dispute Resolution Center did a listening session because they are also developing an equity toolbox. I did not know that. And there could be an opportunity for some overlap, coordination, right? Just seeing what they're doing, what we're working on, we're working together. So I thought that was interesting. I had law enforcement assisted diversion meeting where we got more updated data regarding their dashboard, which I really like their dashboard. And I know that with Chief Wicks and the police looking at different types of dashboard and what data looks like, that's all really a teaser for the next public health and safety meeting, which is April 11th at Joan's favorite time, 8 a.m., where we're going to be talking about police data. And it all ties in because lead, Jason Bean Mortimer, is going to be there. I see a lot of interest wanting to attend that meeting. Thank you. I'm also going to tag along with our mayor to go tour Lot this week. So I'm sure she's happy about that. It's basically like a large chemistry set outside. So I think I'm really excited about it. And then I'm also, Angela, this is really for you, going to meet Heidi Roth with Olympia and Beyond March 30th at 11 for coffee to talk about my favorite places in Tumwater. And we're going to do it at Sweet Magnolia. So if you want to come, you're welcome. And Hannah, if you still want to do coffee, stay and we'll schedule a date. Thank you, Mayor.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Althauser.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be attending the Regional Housing Council tomorrow, along with Councilmember Kathy. We have a somewhat light agenda tomorrow. We'll be receiving a presentation on the Growth Management Act. That'll be regarding affordable housing allocation. That's essentially an effort to quantify and analyze some of the affordable housing needs across the county. And one of the exciting portions of that will be essentially a breakdown, kind of analyzing some of the familial needs in terms of area median income for what would essentially close the gap for affordable housing in our community and communities across the county. When I get that presentation, I'll be sure to send it around to council because I think it's pretty interesting. And I wouldn't be surprised if you were surprised by how big those numbers are, which I think is a representation of the challenge before us. Those are aspirational figures and they're large, but that is essentially hopefully a picture or the ceiling for what it would take to try to close the gap on housing affordability. We'll also be discussing the RHC advisory boards again. Those are the 2 entities that we created to help advise the Regional Housing Council so that our decision-making is really rooted in lived experience, rooted in subject matter expertise, so that the packages that come before us for policy decisions have been through a vetting process with folks who are doing the work on the ground in advance. And then we will be deciding our future meeting schedule. We've been meeting bi-weekly, but I think that might switch to once a month. That's my report.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Swarthout.
I always get to be at the end and I don't have any meetings to report on. I do have meetings coming up on Monday. I'll be attending the climate, if we have it scheduled, the climate steering committee meeting, and then TRPC will be on Friday, April 3rd or April 6th, I think. Is it the 6th? 6th. Next month. Thank you. That's my report.
Great, thank you. One thing I forgot to mention is tomorrow I will be attending the very first AWC meeting for diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. It's a brand new cabinet that Association Washington Cities is doing. And I'm the representative in District 6. So this will be a statewide effort by the Association of Washington Cities to do some of the things that I know a lot of the other communities are doing. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that works and to get that new cabinet up and running. So with that, do we have anything else for the good of the order?
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Kathy.
Thank you. I really appreciated the update that you gave us on, I don't really even like to talk about it, but the search for our new city administrator.
Oh, yes.
Appreciated you sending that out. The question that I have is, at what point in any of this is there going to be an opportunity for the council to meet any person or persons, or is there anything scheduled in that arena for us?
Yes. So there will be a open house and where all of the candidates will be attending, and that will be the opportunity for all the council members. If you remember when Administrator Doan was selected, council members were able to meet him, all of the candidates, and get to know them and have a little bit of input from that meeting and meet and greet. So it'll be at City Hall, and I'm sure we can probably do something in Zoom if need be. But yeah, so all the council members will meet the top candidates for that position.
Do we have any idea how many that will be?
We do not yet. There was the consultant is refining the group, and I think they're thinking 6 to 7 possibly. Administrator Doan, do you want to go ahead and speak to that?
Sure. There were 18 plus candidates. I can't tell you exactly how many because I expected a few more to come in a little bit after the deadline. Yeah, and their task will be to cull it down to 5, 6, 7, something like that, of reasonable candidates. And then what we've asked council members to do is save time on your calendar on April 10th and April 11th in the evening. Again, we don't know exactly what those schedules look like, but if you can reserve those evenings, that's a Monday and a Tuesday, that would be great.
Do you know what kind of a format? I mean, I'm trying to picture, talking with people or, getting a feel for it, not really walking around the room, trying to talk to people maybe I'm asking too detailed of a question this early, but I'm a little anxious about it.
Yeah. So it will be like it was last time. So it's more of a meet and greet, being able to interface one-on-one with each one of the candidates. So you may end up with a couple of council members, and so it'll be kind of just informal. It won't be where you're sitting at doing like the intense interview process. It'll be more informal, and you'll get to know them. Councilmember Jefferson.
Yes, do we get a chance to look at resumes and backgrounds and?
I'll see how that goes. Yeah. So.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions before we adjourn?
No.
All right, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
I have a question for you.
Sorry, no more questions.
I saw